Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari So, soon, in a few days, this Wednesday, we'll be celebrating the Holy Appearance Day of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya. So everybody's welcome. So since we're getting close to that day, I thought we could read from, this is the Lord Chaitanya's biography. It's called the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So we could read, we'll be reading from Madhya Leela, chapter 7, which is entitled The Lord's Tour of South India. In text 127. So if everybody could please repeat after me. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So I'll just say a few prayers before we proceed. Om Jnanatimidandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshulanamilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Kativachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yakripatam Ham Vande Shri Gurun Diritarunam Pancha Kapdribhishta Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So these prayers in English mean, I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. From my humble obeisances unto him. Another one is explaining that by the mercy of the spiritual master, the Guru, a lame person could cross mountains, a blind person could see, a lame, blind, a dumb person could speak eloquent words by the mercy of the Guru. Another one is, I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnav, or all the devotees of Krishna, who are just like desire trees and are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls, and who could fulfill the desires of everyone. I offer my obeisances to them. How does this thing, Srivita Prabhu? Oh, I'm just wondering how this thing stays. Need some tech support here. I have to say a special mantra.
All right, so this is now. This has to be taken. This look. Oh, but it's
that thing.
Keep it underneath like that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That's all right. It's a good one.
Okay. Oh man. Okay. It's a bit too close. Okay. Can everybody hear me? Kind of? Okay. So Lord Chaitanya, he is Krishna, come again. So Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The other day I was giving a talk at a college, Mesa College, and I was asking everybody in the room if they've heard of Krishna before. And everybody said, or a few people said yes. So I asked them the question, I said, okay, if you've heard of Krishna, then what musical instrument does Krishna play? So everybody they didn't know. There's probably maybe 30 students in the audience, and no one knew. And I said, okay, I'll tell you. And then I said, Krishna plays a flute. So then one girl, she said, oh, I was going to say that. I was going to guess that. I said, oh, don't worry, you still get credit, you know. So yeah, Krishna, one of the description is he plays a flute. He wears a peacock feather on his head. His complexion is blackish bluish like a rain cloud, and so on. So within this tradition, the Hare Krishna tradition, those who follow it, we accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead for many reasons, which we won't get into now. But Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago. Hey, that's an echo. Sounds like someone's listening to me out there. No, I'm just... because we have the camera here, somebody's listening out there. That's what's going on. So Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he descended 5,000 years ago, and he happened to appear in India, within India. So Krishna, he did so many things within his life. There's a whole book about that. It's called Krishna Book. That's within, we have that in the gift shop for those of you who don't have it. It's a very important book. Prabhupada said about that book, he said, at least for those who are trying to be Krishna conscious, he said this is a very important book. And he said, just by reading this one book, a person can become fully Krishna conscious. And then he said, just by reading one chapter of this book, a person, maybe I said this before. Anyways, it's important, so I'm saying it again. Just by reading one chapter of this book, one can become fully Krishna conscious. And then he said, just by reading one paragraph, one can become fully Krishna conscious. And then he said, just by reading one word, one can become fully Krishna conscious. So he said the book has so much power, Krishna Book. It's only $10 too. So it's a book about Krishna. So, and Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, 800 verses, right? 700 verses. Okay, I'm adding 100 verses. 700 verses. And in it, Krishna, he delineates so many wonderful spiritual principles to live by. Just like Narendra Prabhu was here the other day, he was saying Dravida Prabhu's acting like the referee. So that's good. Make sure we don't mess things up here. So Krishna, so Lord Chaitanya is Krishna come again 500 years ago, about 500 years ago, more now. And Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, he's Krishna, but he's in the mood of a devotee. He's in the mood of a devotee. He's acting like a devotee. Because one of the reasons is that that Krishna, he's being served by so many living entities, and they're experiencing happiness, they're experiencing bliss. But because he is in his situation, he can't experience the bliss they're experiencing. So he wants to know what they're experiencing. And specifically, Srimati Radharani, the consort of Krishna, he wants to know the happiness she feels. So he comes as Lord Chaitanya. And he's also coming to teach us how to be a devotee. So if we read about Lord Chaitanya, that we'll find out how to be a devotee of Krishna. And this is one of the best ways to teach, by example. So those of you who are trying to teach somebody out there, maybe your parents trying to teach your children, you could teach by example, or your sister trying to teach your other sister, brothers, or whatever the case is. If you're trying to teach something to someone, one of the best ways, or practically the best way, is by example. So therefore Lord Chaitanya was teaching by example. And it's a common sense point, actually. It's common sense, although a lot of people miss it. It's a common sense point. If I'm smoking 1 pack of cigarettes a day, which I'm not, by the way. I don't do that. And if I was trying to preach or teach someone or tell someone, hey, you should give up smoking or you shouldn't smoke. Now they may not take me so seriously because I'm smoking. Now, of course, maybe an intelligent person, they'll look at me and say, oh, this guy's smoking a pack of cigarettes and he doesn't look so happy, maybe he won't do it. That's another case. But the point is that if I'm not doing it and I say it, it has that much more power. And the examples given of Gandhi, famous Gandhi within India, who was on every rupee note, right? Like the dollar. He's on the rupee note. So Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, one time a mother came to see him to get advice. And she brought her son. And her son apparently was very attached to eating sweets. Yeah. So there's candy shops here in America, and also in India there's so many sweet shops, like tons of sweet shops everywhere. So the boy was having fun eating a lot of sweets. So the mother asked Mahatma Gandhi, she said, "Can you please tell my son to stop eating sweets?" So then Mahatma Gandhi said, "Oh, okay, my answer is to you, please come back in a week." So then the mother left with the son, and then she came back in a week with the son. And then Mahatma Gandhi told the son, "Okay, stop eating sweets." So then the mother was wondering, well, if you told him that now, why didn't you just tell him a week ago the same thing? And then Mahatma Gandhi said, well, a week ago I was also eating sweets. So I couldn't tell him not to. But now I'm not, so I could tell him. She said, okay. So it has that much more power. And it's also what is it? We want to try to be free from hypocrisy for telling somebody something and we're not doing it. And at least we should be trying to do it if we're telling someone something. Sincerely trying. So Lord Chaitanya, he came to teach by example how to be a devotee. So when he appeared here, which we'll hear about later on Wednesday, it's his appearance day, he did so many things. For 48 years he was in this world. And one of the first things he did in his youth, not super youth, but later on, he married. He was married. He was a householder. And then at a very early age, he renounced his family life. And you know how early he was what age he was when he did that? He was 24 years old. So it's really early. A lot of the times within this tradition, people may do that, renounce family life, but generally they do it when they're old, 50, 60, like that. Even traditionally when people used to live 100 years all the time, people do it when they're 75. So he did it when he was 24. And he did that to spread the message of Krishna far and wide, because he renounced and then he traveled all throughout India. Yeah, he traveled and renounced, traveled all throughout India. So, and one particular place he traveled was South India. Anybody from South India here? A few. You are? Okay, great. I went there once, but so South India. So he was doing a lot of traveling there, and at one point he encountered this Brahmin or learned person named Korma. He encountered this person, and this person was very happy to meet Lord Chaitanya. So Korma, he greeted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He brought him to his house. He honored him and greeted him nicely with his family. And then Korma had a very interesting idea. And you know what that was? He wanted to leave his house and his family. And he wanted to go with Lord Chaitanya. Because he was so, you could imagine Lord Chaitanya, I mean, there's pictures of him. Here's a picture right here, a group of them. Lord Chaitanya's in the middle with, he's wearing yellow, golden complexion, very tall, beautiful. handsome, very attractive personality. I mean, he's Krishna, so he's all attractive. And when he was traveling throughout India, he was just inundating the whole of South India. Whoever he would come in contact with love for Krishna, which means complete bliss, complete happiness in loving Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, and they would have all these wonderful transformations. They'd be crying, and their hair is standing on end, and shivering in ecstasy, and all these different things. So Korma, he came in contact with Lord Chaitanya, and he was thinking, all right, well, I'm just going to leave. So he brought it up to Lord Chaitanya and asked him if he could go with him. So that's the verse I'll read. What Lord Chaitanya says. He says, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, "Don't speak like that again. Better to remain at home and chant the holy name of Krishna, always. Instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Sri Krishna as they are given in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land." So that's what Lord Chaitanya said. He said, he didn't say that. That's what Lord Chaitanya said. He said, just stay at home and chant Hare Krishna always, and instruct others to follow the orders of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. And in this way, try to liberate everyone, means free them from ignorance, and become a guru and liberate the land. So the next verse is, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further advised the Brahmin Korma, if you follow this instruction, your materialistic life at home will not obstruct your spiritual advancement. So chanting Hare Krishna, reading Bhagavad Gita, telling others about it, and then your home life will not obstruct your spiritual advancement. Indeed, if you follow these regulative principles, we will again meet here, or rather, you will never lose my company. So Lord Chaitanya is saying that. Purport. This is an opportunity for everyone. If one simply follows the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu under the guidance of his representative and chants the Hare Krishna mantra, teaching everyone as far as possible the same principle, the contamination of the materialistic way of life will not even touch him or her. It does not matter whether one lives in a holy place like Vrindavan, Navadvip, or Jagannath Puri, or in the midst of European cities, where the materialistic way of life is very prominent. If a devotee follows the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he lives in the company of him, the Lord. Wherever he lives, he converts that place into Vrindavan and Navadvip. This means that materialism cannot touch him. This is the secret of success for one advancing in Krishna consciousness. So the last thing that this person, that this devotee, Brahman Kumar, wanted was to lose the association of Lord Chaitanya. And therefore he was saying, please let me go with you. But Lord Chaitanya advised him, stay home, chant Hare Krishna, follow the teachings in the Bhagavad Gita, tell others about it. And in this way, you'll never lose my company. You always be in my company. So, and Srila Prabhupada says that's the same for us too. It's opportunity for everyone. So the idea is that for one who's aspiring to be Krishna conscious or aspiring to reach the goal of life, Krishna prema or love for Krishna, they don't want to lose the company of Krishna. They want to be in the company of Krishna, and that comes by the main way by chanting Hare Krishna. So in one particular place, Srila Prabhupada said that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he said that out of all the instructions of the spiritual master, the most important instruction is to chant 16 rounds a day. So, I have my beads here. It's a demonstration. I chant 16 rounds a day, by the way. Sometimes I chant more, but usually 16. At least, I mean. So, many of you chant here, and many of you know about this. Each bead, we chant one Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and then go to the next bead. So we do that 108 times, and that's one round. So 16 rounds is about 2 hours. Now, in the beginning, one may not do that, and usually they don't. They start with 2 rounds, 4 rounds, something like that. And then 6 rounds, 8 rounds, and then make their way up to 16 rounds. But whatever the case is, whether one's chanting 16 rounds, or specifically if they're not chanting 16 rounds, the idea is to start somewhere and to take a vow to do that every day. So when I first started chanting some time ago, I made a vow to chant 2 rounds a day, which is about 10 minutes, not very much. And then I made a vow to chant 4 rounds over some time, and then 6 rounds, and then 8 rounds, and then I made my way up to 16, and I've been chanting 16 now for some time. So yeah, that's important, because if one wants to be Krishna conscious, this is a recommendation. If one doesn't want to be Krishna conscious, then okay, then we know what to do. But if one wants to be Krishna conscious, we also know what to do. Chant 16 rounds. Or make our way up there gradually. So that's an important point. And here Srila Prabhupada's making the point that, under the guidance of devotees, we do that. And we should teach everyone as far as possible. And then we will be... the contamination of the materialistic way of life will not even touch us. So what is this contamination of materialistic way of life? Practically it means for one to think and be absorbed in thinking that they're the body, the material body. It means by nature our identity is material, and therefore if our identity is material, our primary needs are material. And if that's the case, then Krishna consciousness is actually not that important. So that's the materialistic way of life, or you could say like the disease, to think that Krishna consciousness is not important, or it's something that is optional or secondary. And then Srila Prabhupada mentions places to live. So he says that it doesn't matter whether one lives in SanDiego or some other city, which the materialistic way of life may be very prominent, and it is. It doesn't really matter. One can be just as spiritual as if they're living in a holy place, such as Vrindavan, Navadvip, Jagannath Puri, different places he mentions. Although people sometimes they get the idea that I'll move there. Like we have this devotee. He's from India originally. He came here. He was working with his family. He was from West Bengal, Kolkata, and he started getting so much into Krishna consciousness, into chanting and all these different things. He said, "Okay, I'm packing up the stuff and we're moving back to India." He said he wants to be next to a holy place, namely Mayapur. Actually, he wanted to move directly to Mayapur, which is one of the sacred places within this tradition. He wanted to move directly there. But then the wife was saying, well, we'll move to Kolkata, which is close to there, not exactly Mayapur. She wasn't ready for the whole thing. So he had the idea to move, and he just did that. But that's not required, necessarily. And if we all did that, then where would the temple be, right? to have some temple here. So, and the point Prabhupada makes is that it says that the devotees, they convert wherever they are into Vrindavan, when it's a spiritual atmosphere of the spiritual world. So that was Srila Prabhupada's idea behind creating temples in the West. That was his idea. That many people won't live in India where there's many holy places or temples. Many people will live in America or other places throughout the world. So he wanted to create temples and create holy places such as this, in which people could visit and be a part of and live in some cases. And in this way get the benefit of a holy place. So if you look closely at the four corners of this temple, you'll see Krishna there. Actually, Krishna's everywhere, right? All over. But specifically, you see Krishna, and he's lifting Govardhan Hill with his left pinky. So some people, they claim to be God. Some people claim to be God, and part of Krishna's activities is he actually danced with young girls in the nighttime. He was dancing out in the forest, and so Srila Prabhupada would say that, for these ordinary men who are claiming to be God, they'll say all types of interesting things, namely, like they tell people, send your wives, send your daughters, so I could dance with them. That's what they say, because they're God, they're Krishna. That's what they're claiming. So Srila Prabhupada would say, okay, fine, you want to say send your wives, send your daughters, so you could perform the Rasa Leela, the dance, because you're claiming to be Krishna. But what about lifting Govardhan Hill? You have to lift Govardhan Hill. So Govardhan Hill is a big hill, and Krishna lifted it with his left pinky. So, but they can't do that. So maybe they could do that, but that doesn't qualify them to be Krishna. So, anyways, if you look at the four corners, Krishna's lifting Govardhan Hill, and therefore this place, this temple, is called New Govardhan. So this was Srila Prabhupada's idea, that just like there's New York or so on, Prabhupada had the idea that he would name the temples after the original places. So there's a place in India called Govardhan, where Govardhan Hill is, where Krishna lifted the hill. It's a town. So similarly, so this is called New Govardhan. And then in LA, there's a place in India called Dwarka, so it's called New Dwarka. And in Berkeley, there's a place called Jagannath Puri, as we read in the purport. In India, a place called Jagannath Puri. So in Berkeley, it's called New Jagannath Puri, and so on. So this is New Govardhan, and that was Prabhupada's idea, to create, like he said, like embassies of the spiritual world. And what makes a holy place a holy place? One is that Krishna appears at a holy place. That's one of the things that makes Krishna holy. That makes a holy place a holy place. Krishna appears. So Krishna has appeared here in the form of Archamurti, or the deity, which here is Giridhari playing the flute, and Srimati Radharani in the middle, and other forms as well. So within the ancient spiritual books from India, Bhagavad Gita, so many other books, this idea is explained. We cannot see God with our eyes, so therefore he appears in a form in which we could see him, namely the deity, made out of material. But there's a whole process in which Krishna is invited, and Krishna appears, so we could serve and see. So Krishna appearing makes a holy place a holy place. Devotees, people who are dedicated to Krishna, that makes a holy place a holy place. The activities that are performed and so on. So this, in fact, is a holy place. Since 1977, it's been a holy place. Before that, it wasn't a holy place. So it's a holy place, a spiritual surcharged place. And that's why when people come, they feel that energy. If you just step some feet out into the lobby and then further to the sidewalk, and then you walk down about 20 feet, and then you take a right, and you keep on walking, you'll reach, what is it called? Sandlot Pizza place. And I know the name because I live right next to it. I live in the temple. I don't go there. We make our own pizza here. But if we pay close attention, if we're a little introspective, if we kind of tap into our, you could say, subtle nature, more subtle spiritual nature, we will definitely see that the energy one feels in this room and the energy one feels at Sandlot Pizza Place is quite different. And actually, if we analyze any place that we may go, even within all of SanDiego and the place here, it's quite different. And that was when I first came to this temple, immediately I was here for about 2 hours. And then I walked out and everything looked different. And I felt like I was leaving a very powerful place. So that's the idea. And this was Srila Prabhupada's idea. We have, for example, New Vrindavan. New Vrindavan, that's in West Virginia. It's a big farm community. Maybe some of you went there. So within the old Vrindavan, or the original Vrindavan within India, there's so many big temples. Actually, there's 7 main temples in many holy, like kunds or ponds. So Prabhupada was instructing devotees that you should make these temples in New Vrindavan, West Virginia, and also the ponds and so on. So the idea is that people get into that consciousness without necessarily going. So anyways, I thought that was interesting, so I would tell everybody that. So we may not live in the temple, actually most of us don't, but whether we're in our apartments or houses, we could also try to make that into a holy place, create a Vrindavan atmosphere, namely a Krishna conscious atmosphere, by playing kirtan, chanting of Hare Krishna, by reading spiritual books, decorating in a certain way, keeping it clean, on and on and on. It could be like a spiritual atmosphere. So Lord Chaitanya did not recommend Kumar, not Gopakumar, but just Kumar, to do anything radical, but he just said, stay in your position, stay as you are, chant Hare Krishna, follow the instructions, try to tell everybody about it. And in this way, you will not feel, we'll always be together. So that was the main point, that similarly, if all of us follow that, we'll also feel connected with Krishna. So that's the idea, to try to strive to move in that direction, wherever we happen to be, just try to keep on striving towards that direction. So yeah, in the next few days we'll be celebrating his appearance. It's a very important festival, so everybody's welcome. All right, so does anyone have any questions or comments or anything you'd like to say? Yes, Christian. We call him Hare Christian. Like Hare Krishna, but Hare Christian.
Thank you for my nickname.
I hope you don't mind.
I don't.
Okay, good.
That was a very nice talk. I picked up on the 16 rounds, and when I chant, I find that it's difficult for me to concentrate what would you recommend that I do to stay focused?
There's a verse. Shushu sho shoradana sya vasudeva kataruchi san mahat seva vipra tirnya punya tirtana shevana. So it's saying, Sanskrit verse is saying, by serving the great souls, I keep on hitting this thing, I'm sorry. By serving great souls who are completely free from vice, great service is done. And one gets a taste, or one gets an attraction for hearing the messages of Vasudeva or Krishna. One gets an attraction for hearing about Krishna. So that also includes chanting. So we want to associate with, we want to serve, and we want to try to follow the advice of pure devotees. And we have Prabhupada and there's others. And in this way we could get their, we could say, blessings, and also when we associate with someone we actually pick up some of their consciousness and some of their characteristics. So if we associate with devotees who do have that attraction to Krishna, we'll also pick that up. So that's important to do that. So Prabhupada has his books. We could read his books and try to figure out what he's trying to communicate to us and try to follow those instructions. And this way we're serving him. And then he has that attraction, and we could have that attraction as well. But on a different note, there's a book. It's called Japa. So it's very easy to remember. Just Japa. It's called Japa. Japa. And it's by Borijan Prabhu. And even if you don't remember that name, you just look up Japa. So you could order that book, right? It's the age of ordering things. You could order anything. Come right to your doorstep next day, right? Amazon Prime. Ki Jai. All glories to Amazon Prime. Whatever. So you could order it, and that book goes into all the different wonderful aspects of how to become advanced in chanting japa, all the psychology behind it, and different tips, and and it could come tomorrow. Just got to order it. So does anyone have any other questions or comments about anything?
I have a comment.
Yes.
As per that question by Bhakta Christian, one thing we always have to remember is that, and it seems axiomatic, but we tend to forget because we have impersonal tendencies, is that Krishna is a person. So when you're chanting Hare Krishna, you're addressing the person Krishna, the Supreme Person. And He's God. So you can pray to God, and one thing you can pray for is the ability to concentrate on His holy name. So as you chant, that can be part of your prayer. Prabhupada said that the chanting, the holy name, what does it mean? Well, it's a call to Krishna and Radharani to please engage me in your service. So the service you're trying to perform as you chant Hare Krishna is to really focus on the holy name and completely absorbed in the sound with devotion. But you find so many distractions. So pray for that. I remember when we went to, there used to be these things called japa retreats in the aughts. Then after the recession, devotees couldn't afford to go, so they kind of died out. But it was great. It was like 4 or 5 days, and all we did was hear about the holy name. Prabhu himself runs one in Vrindavan every year. If you can make it over there in November, I think they have it. Chachinandan Swami was running these. And one day you chant 64 rounds, which is not so easy, you know. It's just chanting. And as you're chanting, I thought of this idea of like praying to the holy name through the holy name. You're praying to the holy name to please let me become focused on you, please let me chant you with the deepest love. And it's completely authorized. There were prayers by Rupa Goswami to that effect also. He has this Namashtaka. So this is one kind of a meta way that you can think of improving. The simple thing of just, I can't fix my mind. My mind is like a bee. It's like a wild horse. It's like a raging wind. You take whatever metaphor you want from the Shastra. But you can control it because you're the Supreme Personality of God, so please, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. So that's one technique you can use easily. But that book is very good. I just finished, I read it recently. And that could be ordered, I think, on Kindle. You don't even have to, it'll just come instantaneously. Forget
Kindle.
about Amazon Prime tomorrow.
Yeah.
You can have it tonight.
Yeah, tonight. There we go. See, tonight. Why wait? Yeah, why wait? The time is now. So does anyone have any other questions or comments? All right. So are the kids ready? All right.